This is cs952 Introduction to Web Technologies and Design, and at long last we are ready to get started adding images to our page. So when we left off, we had added this content to our page. I'm going to click with my cursor right in the middle of our div. We talked about how divs are containers and we use divs to hold content. So this div, which has an ID of photo gallery, we're going to use this div to hold all the images in our web page. Every image that you see is going to fit right between those two little arrows that are pointing towards each other where we have my flashing cursor. And we've added images to the folder called gallery. If we look in our files directory and we look, if I click on the plus sign to open up my images folder and then click on the plus sign to open up my gallery, I can see I've got a bunch of images there. These are the images from the tutorial, but you can use your own images if you'd like. And again, the images I'm using are 1000 pixels wide, 750 tall. It's a 4:3 ratio. So I'm going to click one more time here to put my cursor right in the middle of this div, right between the opening and closing div tag, and we're going to switch to design view. I'm going to click up here for design view. Now we can't see where our flashing cursor is, but we know that it's right in the middle of that div because we put it there in code view. And now we're going to choose insert image, and we're going to select this from the insert menu up at the top of the page. We're going to use insert menu, or we could use the keyboard shortcut. So let's do the first few using the insert menu at the top of the page. If we click up there, we can see the second item that we see is image, because we use this a lot, so it's right up there at the top. Inserting image, very popular command. And you can see the keyboard shortcut is Control plus Alt plus I. We'll use a cursor to start off with, so it's going to say insert the image. Then we get our select image source dialog box. Dreamweaver wants to know where's the image. We've seen this before when we added the image to our home page. So I'm going to double click on my images folder, and I'm going to double click on my gallery folder, and I'm going to select the first item in the list, right? It says pencil gallery Bindi pencils, and I'm going to answer OK. And there we go. Here is my image. You know what? I think what I'm going to do before we go any further, I'm going to give myself a little bit more room to work with. So I'm going to click up here and select my collapse two icons. All right, it gives me a little bit more room to work with. So now I can see my entire image. Scrolling up and down, here's my entire image. Now I'm going to click with my cursor to the right of my selected image. And you can see that the cursor is now flashing there to the side. And I'm ready to insert my next image. My next image is going to go right after this first image. I'm not hitting return, not hitting space. I want my next image to go right next to my current image. And so again, I'm going to choose insert, and I'm going to choose image, and I'm going to choose the second image in the list, 4 pencils. And I'm going to say OK. And let's scroll on down. So here we have it, 4 big old pencils. Now I'm going to click again to the right, just to the right of that image. And I will again choose insert from my menu bar and choose image. And here we go. This one says lots of pencils. That'll be my next image. And I will scroll down and click to the right. We've got that flashing line there. And I'm going to choose insert image again. And it looks like the next one says pencil factory. Alrighty, let's do that. Let's scroll down and we'll click to the right. And now I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. So with my cursor to the right of my image, we can see that flashing line. I'm going to hold down Control and Alt, those two keys at the same time, and then I'm going to hold down I. And when I do that, my select image source file dialog box comes up, and I'm going to say pencil rows, say OK. And there's my next image. Again, I'm going to click to the right of the image, hold down Control, Alt, I, and the next one is replacement lead. Say OK. And scroll down, again click to the right, and it's Control plus Alt plus I. And this one is Pencil Gallery Various. Alrighty. We'll scroll on down. I'll click to the right, and again Control plus Alt plus I, and Pencil Gallery Train, and say OK. Alrighty. So let's save what we've done. I'm going to go and click on my Save All button. And real quick, let's preview this in Chrome. Alrighty, so here's our image. Now, notice that as I make my window smaller, the size of my image doesn't change. And this really isn't going to work too well, because when I'm looking at this on a cell phone, this is what I'm going to see. And this obviously will not work for us. So one really good question is, what's going on here? How come the image doesn't change as we make the window larger or smaller? Well, the number one reason the size doesn't change is because Dreamweaver has set the size of the image. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. Let's look at our very first image. And let's click on the image. And when we click on the image, let's look and see what's being displayed in the Property Inspector. Remember, the Property Inspector shows us different properties depending on what we're working with. And what I'd like to point out is that Dreamweaver has set the width of this image to 1,000 pixels, which is correct. This image is 1,000 pixels wide, and it set the height to 750. So when we first bring an image into Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver looks at the size of the image, and it sets those numbers. Now we can change those numbers. If I wanted the image to be 500 pixels wide, I could type in 500 and hit enter. And you'll notice that Dreamweaver automatically scaled the height. If we cut the width in half, Dreamweaver cuts the height in half. So now it's half as big, but we still have the same problem. If we go to view this in a web browser, I'm going to go and have a look at this in Chrome. The image is still fixed in its size. No good. Let's go back to Dreamweaver. Incidentally, we have a little lock here that is toggling the size constraint. So if I undo that lock, I could maybe set the height at 100 pixels. Whoops, not 0, 100, 100, and that just looks plain terrible. So what we want to do is we actually want to just delete these values altogether. I'm going to delete the width, and I'm going to delete the height. Maybe I have to hit refresh. Let's just move on. Dreamweaver will sort it out. There we go. All I had to do is click on it and Dreamweaver sorted it out. So we don't want a width and a height. What we do need to add is an alt tag. And the alt tag is there to provide some sort of description of the image if for some reason the image is unable to load, or if the page is being viewed by someone who maybe is handicapped and they can't see the image. So I'm going to type in Bendy Pencil. Now the title is a title of the image that's displayed when we hover over the image. And I'm going to use the same text for my alt. I'm going to use that for my title. Okay. So now we need to do that for all of our images. So I've got the first image fixed up. Okay, this next one, again, I want to delete my width and delete my height. And this was a picture of, I believe it was 4 pencils, yeah? So we're going to call this 4 pencils. And I just drag over that text, right click and copy, and then click over here in title and choose paste. I'm going to slide on down. Here's my next one. Well, this is an image of lots of pencils. So again, we're going to delete the width, delete the height. In our alt text, I'm going to type lots of pencils. And I'll drag over to highlight that, right click, copy, and then click in title and choose paste. Okay. Scroll on down. I'm going to, this is the pencil company picture. I'm going to delete my width, delete my height. My alternate text, I'm going to put in pencil company. Oops. O-M-P-A-N-Y. And I'll highlight that text, right click and choose copy, and then click in here, right click and choose paste. Let's scroll on down. Just a few more to go. Actually, I think we're halfway there. I'm going to click on this one again. I'm double clicking deleting my width, deleting my height, and I'm going to call this one row of pencils. And it's really important that we have this alternate text, particularly if you ever want to get, I'm going to right-click and copy, any kind of a government contract, right-click and choose paste. Because it's part of ADA compliance, providing accessibility to disabled people to have this text, this alternate text in there. So I'm going to delete, this is, we're working on the pencil lead image, delete that, delete my width, delete my height. I'm going to call this pencil lead. Of course, it's not really lead, it's actually graphite. Oh, it's highlight that, copy, title, paste, scroll on down. This one is what? Various pencils. Delete the width, delete the height. Call this various pencils. Right. Gonna copy that and then click in my title and paste. We're almost at the finish line. One last one left to go. It's a very interesting picture. Delete my width, delete my height. Under my alternate text, I'm going to say train from a pencil. Because it looks like a train coming out of a pencil, right? So I'm going to again drag over that text, copy it, and then go to my title and choose paste. Okay, very good. And I'm going to save everything that we have so far, and I will hit F12, or just click here and choose Preview in Chrome, and let's see what we have now. Now we can rely on, oops, it's still not resizing the image. What's going on here? Well, we'll get that fixed in a second. But this is a good place to take a break, and then we will fix up the rest of our image gallery.